fans, it is I, Darian Thomas, your host of the Trust the Buzz podcast, a part of the Believe Podcast Network. I got an interesting episode for you today. Sorry that it's been so long. I was on a project for work and that was kicking my butt. And then I had to go on a work trip. So I really haven't been able to just record or do any content, whether it's the YouTube channel, the podcast, researching. I haven't been able to do anything. So I'm finally back. Finally got some stability. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some things because some things have happened since we last spoke. So I'm going to break down what we're going to talk about today. So one, talking about our new segment, Stat Line of the Day, where I just give you a random stat line. And the point is you got to guess who provided that stat line. Then we're going to talk about the Hornets wins, the over-under. I've seen some crazy things. And then also I want to talk about the PJ signing. So, a relatively, decent, linked episode today. So we'll see how far it goes. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So for the stat line for today, on November 25th, against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a player recorded 25 minutes, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. They also shot 4 of 7 from the field, and they made 1 3-pointer. They only attempted 1, and they made it. And they were 5 of 6 from the free throw line. So next episode, I'll let you know who it is. But until then, go ahead and try to figure it out. Don't look it up. But yeah, that's the stat line of the day. And I'll also be bringing new segments. I don't even think that segment's going to stick. I'm just trying to find new segments to, increase engagement, because I feel like y'all would want to kind of feel like you could talk back. That's the one thing about like podcasts. It doesn't feel like you can really talk back or interact. So I'm trying to, leave that open so that we can have that interaction. And we can do that by, if you follow me on Twitter at TruzzBuzz, TruzzBuzz. I'm always active on there. So if you don't get an episode from me or I haven't recorded a video, I'm always active on there. So we can always talk hoops there. I'm always talking about something Charlotte Hornets related on there. I'm also thinking about turning that account into technically like a brand account. And then what I'm going to do is just make my own personal account. So I can kind of separate the two, just because I do want to kind of further where I'm at as far as just kind of like this content creation / media thing. So I feel like it would be best if I were to just have 2 separate pages for that. And one being, Charlotte Hornets related, and then my personal, I think that would just help out a lot. So let me know what you think of that, because I'm always, open to ideas, but that's kind of the road that I'm leaning. And I don't want to make a new account necessarily, to be the brand account, just because I've done all the work and grown all the followers on there. So I don't care if my personal account has that many followers. So anyway, now that we're done with the stat line of the day, let's move on to the Hornets win, the over under on wins. So right now, as of yesterday, and yesterday would be September 5th, DraftKings had us at 31.5. Caesar Sportsbook had us at 30.5, while FanDuel had us at 30.5. So without even looking at the rest of the NBA, I already find that to be a problem, just because we won 27 or 28 games last year without a 20-point per game scorer, Miles Bridges, missing LaMelo Ball for a good chunk of that, missing Kelly Oubre for a good chunk of that, starting Mason Plumlee as your starting center in the NBA is only going to get you so far. And then midway through, trading him basically for nothing so that we can make room for Mark Williams, who obviously at the time was a rookie. And then Nick Richards, who I think is a valuable backup, but still, like that was your center rotation. What do you do with that? Gordon Hayward missed some time. It was probably his healthiest season, but he still missed some time. Terry Rozier didn't play well, but that's because he was asked to do so much. It was just all over the place. PJ was PJ, but with his play style, it's not built to win games. He's built to, we have all our guys here, I'm the glue guy. That's kind of where I see PJ. That's why I value PJ so much. And I've said it before, which we'll get into when we talk about the PJ signing. I value guys who are kind of like the glue guy. I don't need everybody to want to be a star. I just need you to hold your own. And he did win us that game against OKC last year, so that's good. But overall, that's just not his style. So there was a lot going on. I feel like the team just wasn't where we wanted him to be. Even though Kelly Oubre missed some time and that obviously hurt us, he also was extremely inefficient. So there was just a lot going on. And this year, I think we fixed a lot of that. So LaMelo Ball is going to be healthy. Terry Rozier can play more of his role. Then we have, if I don't know, we're just going through the lineup. Let's just say Gordon Hayward starts for whatever reason. Take that with a grain of salt. There's really not much you could do there. We need Gordon Hayward badly this upcoming season. He's probably going to be like one of the most important players on the roster, and that's for two different reasons. One reason is if we trade him, we need to get something valuable back because as of right now, he's kind of like the best chance we have at either a 3 or a 6 man. Because even though I like Brandon Miller and I think Brandon Miller should start, I've said that Brandon Miller's still a rookie at the end of the day. So I'm not going to put the kind of pressure that Gordon Hayward technically has on a rookie and expect him to excel. Now, we can do that, but we shouldn't expect too much. But yeah, so either we trade Gordon Hayward and then what we get back has to be something that can help us win. It doesn't have to be a superstar or anything like that. I know he's an expiring deal. What more can you get back? Even if it opens up a roster spot for us to make a better move, like it's just going to be important either way. And then also we got to look at it if for whatever reason he stays on the team, which expiring contract, he's not a bad player. He just can't stay on the floor. I wouldn't be surprised if they just kept him throughout the season, let his contract run out. We need that. We need someone to kind of slow down the game. We need the veteran leadership. I've always said this. I think he's a good leader for the team, but his leading style is kind of by example. Where you're not on the court, you can't really lead by example. But that's what I see for Gordon Hayward. I see him as that guy to kind of just keep us level. He can make shots here and there. He's pretty good in the mid-range, which we don't really have anyone that can really operate in the mid-range like that. He's just a smart defender. I'm not saying he's locking anybody up, but he knows what to do. It's just will his body let him to do it? I just think he's a good person to have around. It's literally the price point has been my biggest thing with Gordon Hayward, because even if he's missing all these games, which was expected when we signed him, it was the price point that makes it so bad. I think you could sign him for $20 million a year, and I wouldn't be as upset. I'd be more, in tune or more happy with what we're getting from him. And last year, basketball wise, was not his best year with the Hornets, at least. Still, I believe that he's a very valuable player, considering he is on the last year of his deal. So we need something from him either way. Either we trade him and we get something in return that can, to obviously take those minutes and fill that role, or he plays and he just plays how we did, not last year, but the year before, but just a little more healthy. So we'll see. But I think we need that. It's just I don't know which way they're going to go. And once again, by trading him, I'm not expecting nothing, some huge return. All I'm saying is I would rather have that kind of role where Gordon Hayward is playing, which is, hey, you are kind of like the connector between our bench and our starters. So there will be times where our bench is, kind of playing, and they may not be playing the best, but you're kind of holding them together until the starters come back in, and then, we rest you, bring in, or keep Brandon Miller on the floor, and then, something like that. That's kind of where I see Gordon Hayward playing, and I think that is a very valuable role. I don't think that's something to, smog at. I think that's a very valuable role. So, that's my Gordon Hayward spiel. But yeah, you look at that where Gordon Hayward's at the 3, and then you would go more than likely Miles Bridges at the 4, right? Yeah. And that's, like I said, 20 point per game score at the 4. I believe he's way more of a mismatch than he is at the 3. Even though I do see why people say he's probably designed for the 3. I agree with that. He is more of a 3 than he is a 4. However, he's a complete mismatch at the 4. So having him be a 4, I think is going to be a really good thing. And then Mark Williams, of course, at the 5, who statistically does the same. Because I know some people that aren't Hornets fans are like, hey, we see the stats, but what's the difference between Mason Plumlee and Mark Williams as far as, production?
And their production is about the same, points. And then you look at the rebounds. Mason Plumlee was I wouldn't even call him he was a good statistical rebounder because he would get out rebounded so often. And he just didn't box out. He kind of got more of the free boards. As many rebounds as he kind of got the boards that were like givens. And some of that may have to do with us shooting so poorly last year, but I don't know. Mark Williams is more of an aggressive rebounder. I see him take more. I wonder if that's a stat. I see him kind of box out and take more rebounds than Mason Plumlee did. So that's something that technically won't show on the stat sheet, but I see it as in someone that's watching. But also someone that's watching, the difference is Mark Williams is actually a rim deterrer. While he may not have 3 blocks a game, 4 blocks a game, I think he has like 1.5 or something like that, which is good. I'll take it. But you got to count for the shots that people just go up and he just deters, and they have to pass it. They lose the ball, something. I think he's just a better rim protector than Mason Plumlee was. So that's going to help this team out a lot. But when you take all of that in consideration, so the start lineup, we're just spitballing here, is LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and Mark Williams with PJ Washington, Cody Martin, Cody Martin, Brandon Miller. I'm trying to think, and not in order of how they're coming off the bench. I'm just thinking of the names: Nick Richards, and sometimes JT Thor, Bryce McGowan's. I'm taking that, and then maybe you can throw in JT Thor, Bryce McGowan's, Nick Smith Jr. I'll take that going into the season. That's kind of just the most likely lineup. I know that we signed Frank Ntilikina, but I don't know how much of a. I think he's going to get run early. Don't know if he's going to get run throughout the season. It's just he doesn't do much offensively, which we don't need him to. I've said that in one of my videos on YouTube, is that we don't necessarily need him to do much offensively. And I think that's why Dennis Smith Jr. probably would have had an even better season if we were completely healthy with Miles Bridges, because at times he was kind of asked to, run the offense as opposed to take kind of what the defense gives you. And it kind of worked out in his favor. I mean, we know that, he's more of a defensive player. And if he could have focused on that, I think that would have been elite for us. But unfortunately, it didn't play off that way. So all I'm saying is that thinking of that lineup, there's no way we only win 30 games. I mean, considering what we had last year compared to what we have this year, assuming everyone's healthy, assuming everyone, comes out with a chip on the shoulder, everyone's ready to play, there's no way we win 30 games. We win more than 30. I think you're talking easily close to 40. Because you got to think about it. There's 82 games in the season. 41-41 is 500. And considering we won 27 games last year with everything going on, not completely revamped roster, but just a rejuvenated roster. You throw in Brandon Miller, Mark Williams starting from the beginning, LaMelo Ball is healthy, Miles Bridges is back, a newly signed PJ. There's no way we only win 30 games. Yes, the East is difficult. Yes, the West is crazy. But there's no way we only win 30 games. We should win more than that. Now, granted, to be correct, we just got to win 31. Because most of these were under. I know that was like the number. Most of these are, they're going to get under 30. To be correct, we need to win technically 31 games. And we surpassed that. But I see this team at least being close to a 500 team. Like I said, the only reason I say at least is just because don't know what we're going to get from Brandon Miller as a rookie. I'll say that about any rookie. It doesn't matter who, even if it was Scoot. I'm a Brandon Miller fan, always was. I just had a preference. But I don't know what we're going to get from Brandon Miller. He's a rookie. Don't exactly know what we're going to get from Mark Williams. I kind of have an idea, but at the same time, he's a sophomore. He's starting off the season. So it's just going to be a little different in terms of preparation for him. So it may take time to adjust. And I don't know what we're going to get from Gordon Hayward. And as I mentioned earlier, that's going to be a very important part because without him, we don't have anyone that's proven to be somewhat successful in the NBA. When it comes down to that tier. So of course it's the LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier tier. I mean, they could be probably broken up into their own tiers, but you get the point where, okay, we've seen these guys do well. These are our guys. Like, these are the guys we expect. And then we have, like, in that lower tier, we probably, like, the tier under that, we'll probably have PJ and You might can toss Mark in there just because of what he did last year. But as far as like projecting into this upcoming season, all right, PJ, we've seen, what you can do. Obviously, you're not these upper guys, but you're up there. We need you for the defense. We need you for the versatility. You're probably one of the most versatile players in terms of just basketball in general, offense and defense that we have on the roster. Then we have Mark Williams, who seems like he's just going to be a stud defensive center, which I'll take. Give me 14 and 10 and I'm happy. And he looks like he can easily provide that, if not more, but we'll see as time goes on. So I think he'll be in that second tier and that third tier. That's where, that's where Gordon Hayward is. I think that's like, maybe you can toss Nick Richards in there, but I'm not comparing Nick Richards' career to Gordon Hayward's. I'm just saying, as far as just impact and what we've seen that they can do, that's where you kind of put Gordon Hayward there, just because he's declining, injuries, all that. He technically should be kind of in that second tier, but under that is just unproven players, not skill set, not like, oh, I've seen these guys play and how good. It's just as far as their production at the NBA level. What under that is nobody. Brandon Miller, obviously a rookie. Nick Jr., obviously a rookie. Bryce McCown's a sophomore who really didn't get that much playing time. James Bouknight, we have no idea what's going on. JT Thor, you know what I'm saying? I can go on and on. So that's why I keep saying how important Gordon Hayward is because once you get past Melo, Terry, Miles, then you go PJ, Mark, and then right there is unproven players. And then Gordon Hayward and Nick Richards, which Nick Richards, you could even argue he may be even under the tier of Gordon Hayward and then everybody else. But we're not here to fight over that. But that's maybe a video idea. Maybe that's a good video idea. But overall, it's just Gordon Hayward is just going to be very important for this season because once those guys come out, those guys do, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of like the guy they're going to look at. They're not really going to look at PJ to be like, oh, well, take, Miles' spot. Roster, like rotation-wise, maybe, but not as far as production. They're going to look at Gordon Hayward. You're the veteran. We need you to step up. This is the last year of your deal. You've been injured. It hasn't been a good, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to be so much that Gordon Hayward will need to do. And all he needs to do is, like I said, do what he did 2 years ago and just be efficient and be available. So that's why I keep saying it's just going to be so important. But let's look at the teams. Like I said, the Hornets, they have us technically under 30 wins, which I know will surpass that. But the teams in the East, I didn't even bother looking at the West because technically it doesn't matter to us. Plus, there wasn't many. It was like the bottom teams in the West, and then everybody else was pretty high. But let's look at the notable teams in the East. So they have the Magic at 36.5, which I believe all these were overs. Magic at 36.5, Raptors at 36.5, Pacers at 37.5, Nets at 36.5, Bulls at 36.5, Hawks at 42.5. So, and then Pistons at 28.5. So the Hawks, I want to talk about that one first. Because one, we beat the Hawks last year. Now, granted, that was last year and it was a different season. There was a down season for them, but still, we did. Also, you got to look at it as 42.5 is 12 more games than us. Do I think the Hawks are coached? Yeah, I would say are coached and maybe have like a better roster overall than us. Yeah, for sure. Fine. I'm okay with that. Is it 12 games of a difference? I don't think so. I could be crazy, but 12 game difference? I do not see. I just don't see the Hawks being 12 games over. And then considering we're under 30 wins, it's even worse. Because like the Hawks, I think were over. Like it was a 42.5 over. So it just didn't make any sense. Like were the Hawks even 12 games above us last season? Okay, the Hawks last year, I'm looking, they were 41-41. We were 27-55. So they were 14 games above us with our team dismantled. So I just 12 games is a lot. Like I said, I'm willing to accept that the Hawks are better than us right now without seeing a single game of the new season, of course. Just on paper. I'll take that. But 12 games better? I don't think so. And then the Magic at 36.5. Don't see it. That's 6 games better than us. I don't see it. If anything, we should be, okay, I'll put it this way. We should be technically above the Magic, in my opinion. However, the Hornets do be doing Hornet things. And so therefore I can see why, the gap may seem closer than really what it is. And the Magic, what we saw from last year, they come out to play. They're just a young team, but they come out to play, unlike us sometimes. So we'll see. I will say that, last year, I don't really even count. So maybe this year, Steve Clifford will not allow his team to kind of play down to the competition like James Borrego did. So maybe that will help. But it's really hard to just speculate all that because we haven't seen it. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to go based on paper. And yeah, we do Hornets things sometimes and allow teams to be in the game that, that don't deserve it. And we just play a little lazy. Well, I think the Magic, that gap is closer. Raptors, definitely think that gap is way closer than what it seems. I don't think the Raptors are going to be that much better than us. Yes, they have Pascal. Yes, they have OG. But they lost Fred VanVleet, who may, as you look at his numbers, may be inefficient, but he still made an impact on the floor. And then, yes, they have Scotty Barnes, who was on a decline last year, but I don't think that's here to stay. I think he's going to be better. They got Gary Trent Jr., Grady Dick. They got some shooting. I still don't foresee them being that much better than us. Pacers, that's the thing I want to be more than anything. One, of course, the embarrassment they gave us in the play-in 3 years ago at this point. But two, Tyrese is now on that team. And the Tyrese, which is crazy, is I actually really, really like Tyrese Halliburton. Even coming out of college, out of Iowa State, I really like Tyrese Halliburton. But now it's not that people are saying he's better than LaMelo. That doesn't bother me. People are going to have their opinions. It's the difference. People are like, oh, he's way better. Like, I don't see LaMelo out there for Team USA. One, LaMelo's hurt. Two, Tyrese has already been on probably, I would roughly say the Kings team that he was on, even before they got a resurgence, was good. I mean, they had De'Aaron Fox. Okay, maybe not, because it was like De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese. But okay, but the point is, he's surrounded by way more talent. At least the year we're using is last year. And like I said, LaMelo got hurt, and he didn't have nowhere near the talent that Tyrese had or surrounded him last year. So it's just I want to beat the Pacers bad just because of the fact of all that. It is. I'm just gonna say it just makes me upset. And then the Nets at 36.5. That's a weird one. I really don't know how to gauge them. They did a good job of kind of keeping afloat what Kyrie and Durant did. But I don't think they're going to be better. The thing is, just because they're 36.5, I'm not saying they won't get that. What I'm saying is just that are they better than the Hornets? Is kind of my point. It's not about are they going to get the 36 wins or not. It's just are they better than the Hornets considering they're at 36 and we're at 30. I don't think so. Bulls, I don't think so. I don't think that the Bulls are going to be that much better than us. I don't see it. Yes, they have the names: Vooch, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine. Who else is on there? Patrick Williams, even though that's not really a name, but you get the point. I don't know who else is on there. I can't think. But yes, they have the names. They have the status. They have maybe the coach. I don't know. I don't know if Billy Donovan's that good. But no, I just don't see them being 6 games better than the Hornets. I just think the gap is closer. That's all I'm kind of saying here. And then the Pistons at 28.5. If the Hornets are at under 30 and the Pistons are like at 28, no. We're that much better than the Pistons. It should not be that close. Do I think the Pistons are going to be as bad as they were last year? No, not at all. I think the Pistons have a really good thing going. I just don't see them being that close to us. If they're at 28 and we're at 30, that's kind of my point. If the Pistons overdo it, then we should be overdoing it too. You know what I mean? If the Pistons exceed expectations, we should be exceeding expectations as well. That's just kind of my point. But yeah, that's it. As far as just the over-unders, I think it's very interesting to see. I mean, I'm not going to take these with a grain. Like I take these with a grain of salt. I'm not too serious about it. I'm not too open arms about it. It was just interesting to see that ours is so close to our total last year, but we have you really could look at this team as a new team because our best player is back and not injured. Our second best player is back after not playing all season. We have a plan at center, 2 centers at that. And then we have the number 2 overall pick, who's a wing that can defend, rebound, and shoot and play make. Yes, he's going to be a rookie, but I'm just saying, like, it's just new team. It really does feel like a new team. And then all that leads to, all those good things lead to Terry being able to finally play his game. Yes, I don't think Terry's going to have the season he had, I think, 2 years ago, but I do think he's going to be a lot better because he's going to be back in his role, which is off ball. He's going to be able to run around, make plays off ball, and be back to what he was before. So under 30 is crazy to me. But after that, now we can talk about the final segment for this episode. Let me know if you're enjoying it down in the comments. Somehow, if you're listening to this on YouTube, let me know in the comment section below. I think all podcast platforms have like this comment section and this rating section. Give this 5 stars or thumbs up, whatever it is in the comment section for the podcast platforms. And make sure you just leave a comment of things I can do better, things you want to hear more, all of that. Just let me know. I'm here to make content for you. This content isn't for me. I want to make content for you. So if there's something you want to hear, something I need to do better, please let me know and I will do it. But as we close out, I want to talk about, obviously, the PJ re-signing. First of all, what Mitch said yesterday was hilarious, where PJ was like, I always want to be in Charlotte. There was never a doubt, like, yada, yada. And Mitch Kupchak was like, that's not what your agent said. Like, that's not what your people said. Your people said other things. Now, obviously, it's negotiation tactics and whatnot, but I still thought it was funny. And PJ thought it was funny, too. Some players I see PJ, and I say this in a nice way because I'm the same way. I see PJ kind of as a goofball guy, like a guy that likes to laugh, a guy that doesn't like to be too serious all the time, but knows when to. And I see him as that, so I'm glad he took it, in that way and didn't kind of get upset. So that was one thing. But Mitch old. Old people, they're gonna say what they want to say. So hey, you can't fault them too much. But it was still funny nonetheless. But the PJ deal. Before we talk about the technicalities of the deal, what I want to talk about is how everyone said it was an overpay at the beginning. When he first got signed, it was wholly overpay. Oh, why would they pay him so much? Oh, my goodness, this is so much. And that's when we thought it was going to be around, when the deal first came out, it was around like $16 million a year. We allegedly, believe, based on the math, it was just going to be around $16 million a year. I'm going to name some players, and these are all the players who make, these true qualifications I had to make this list. You had to make anywhere between $14 and $17 million a year. And also you had to have at least 3 years left on your deal. So this upcoming season and then obviously 2 seasons after that. That was my criteria to make this list. So tell me again that PJ isn't overpay after I read you this list. Max Strus makes $14 million. LeGuins Dort makes $15 million. Kevin Huerter, $15.6. Mitchell Robinson, $15.6. Rui Hachimura, $15.7. Kevin Porter Jr. Now, him is a little different because I think he has like a whole bunch of we can cut this deal at any time. It's not all game. I don't know exactly the ins and outs of it, but it is a different kind of deal. But still, $15.8 million. Yusuf Nurkic, $16.8 million, and newly re-signed for the Sacramento Kings, Harrison Barnes, $17 million a year, based on the math. There's no way. If you look at that list, I'm taking PJ over everybody except maybe LeGuins Dort. Projection-wise, maybe I think you probably can go LeGuins Dort, but as far as right now, this second, it's a lot closer. Even though I would still lean towards Dort. I don't see how PJ's an overpay, even if it was at the $16 million a year. It's not. I get it. Yes, technically in his role, do you want to sign a player for that much? Maybe not, but in this day and age in the NBA, you need to. And as I mentioned, PJ's the glue guy. It's so important. It reminds me of the Drew Holiday and Mike Conley signings years ago, when everybody's like, oh, these guys got overpaid. I think Mike Conley re-signed with the Grizzlies at the time, and then Drew Holiday re-signed with the Pelicans. Everybody's like, oh, there's so much. But you had to think about it. Those players were not signed based on how valuable they are to the league. It was how valuable are you to our franchise. And Mike Conley, the biggest one, that he was extremely valuable to the Memphis Grizzlies' success. Extremely valuable. So you have to sign players based on how valuable they are to you. And based on our roster right now, we don't have a player like PJ. The only one we has even close is the only player we have even close is Thor, who is nowhere near ready. So it just didn't make sense for everybody to say that's an overpay when PJ does something that not many other people do on our team. And then also you got to think about it. Where were they going to replace that kind of production? There's no one left on the market like that. Christian Wood is more offensively gifted and we'll just be back to, kind of not playing any defense. I don't if no one can get Christian Wood to play defense right now. So that's why he signed with the Lakers. I don't think he would have to play defense there. Or if anyone can do it, it's LeBron. So it just didn't. I didn't see it as an overpay. I think PJ got the money he's worth. Yes, I didn't think he was worth the $20 million, but $16 million, nah, no problem at all. But then we find out that this deal is like staggered. So the first year he makes $16.8 million. Then the second year it drops to $15.5 million. And then the final year of his deal, $14.2 million. So he gets the money up front and it goes down. That is an amazing deal. And I actually want to do some research because that might be one of the best deals I've seen from the Charlotte Hornets. And I just saw a post the other day talking about like the 10 worst overpays in, I want to say it was NBA history, but maybe it was like recency bias because there was a lot of recent contracts. I don't remember, but either way, it was like 10 worst overpays. We were on there twice. We were at number 2 for Gordon Hayward, and we were like at number 6 or 7 for Nicholas Batum. When you think about our past, when we do finally decide to re-sign players or spend money, it never works out for us. This time we decided, and no matter literally, if PJ does the same thing that he's been doing in the past, which I think he'll get better, he's still getting better. We're seeing that. But even if he does the same thing he's been doing his whole career, it's still worth this money in the grand scope of things compared to thinking about what he means to the Charlotte Hornets. Because like I said, we don't have anyone to replace him. So yes, you could probably say the Hornets have leverage or whatever, but I don't know, because like I said, PJ probably, or his team at least, probably knew what are you going to do? If you lose PJ, there's nothing you can do. You're not a team that likes to trade. You're not going to overreact. You have new owners, so they're probably not going to do nothing crazy. Where are you going to get this kind of production from and reliable? Because your only two options to fill that void that's on your roster are JT Thor, who I said is I think JT Thor is improving. I like what I'm seeing from JT Thor. Still has time to go to get even better. Gordon Hayward, who can't stay healthy, and Brandon Miller, who is a rookie. That's it. That's all you have to kind of fill that void, and you just don't want to do that. So it was just going to be rough. Regardless, but what it ended up being, I think that's a steal. And then the money goes down, lets Miles get his money. It helps with that. And it goes down again, so it lets him kind of even be a little more flexible. It's just a lot. It's a lot of good here in this PJ deal. I love it. I know some people might not, but I personally do love the PJ deal. And then just the throws, he has some like small incentives. So he gets $500K per season, an additional $500K per season, if he plays 74 games in at least 2,400 minutes, which he has not reached that at all. Because he has to do both. And I think he's been doing one or the other since he's been in the league, getting real playing time. So overall, it was just a great deal. It was a great deal. It incentivized PJ to play more, get better, to get that little extra $500K. And then also you just got to look at the money. And I think it's a steal, in my opinion, just because of the fact that it's just a great contract. I don't know who worked this contract, but it's a great contract for both sides because PJ, you're not stuck with the Hornets. So if stuff goes awry, you're not stuck with this team. This is a very tradable deal. And then with the Hornets, you still continue to have some type of cap flexibility and still able to do other stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. That does it for this episode of the Trust the Buzz podcast. I promise I'm going to get back on it. It's time to kind of start revamping and vamping up the content. So definitely be on the lookout for all your podcast platforms where I believe we have podcasts everywhere on every platform. So make sure you go ahead and, continue listening, and also go ahead and follow me or subscribe to me on YouTube if you haven't already. It's Trust the Buzz on YouTube. I'm at like 1.4K, which is crazy. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed. And yeah, I'll continue doing what I need to do to provide you the best content. I will continue working also on the segments. I know stat line of the day might not be the prettiest. I know it seems kind of simple, but I'll kind of, get better and better as the season goes on, because I'm doing weekly now, but once the season kind of ramps up, I'll probably start doing more. And I might even start uploading the audio from my YouTube channel, like for those videos, and upload them on here. So you probably would have like daily content. And while won't be podcast platform, and obviously you will be able to tell by the audio it's vamped for YouTube. I hope you would still be able to appreciate that, because I know not everybody has time to pull up their phone and put on YouTube or anything like that. You can just basically listen to my videos as well. So I'll see if I can do that. I've been hesitant to do it. Believe gave me all the support I needed and say, hey, do that. Like you're cool to do that. I just kind of been hesitant because I would hate for y'all to, kind of come on here expecting a 30-minute episode and then you get like a 7-minute little insert. But I think for content wise, just to provide you with content often, I think that would help. So just please forgive me if that doesn't fit your style, or if I need to edit it a certain way, maybe I can do that and take out like the YouTube spiel about subscribing and welcome them to the chat, things like that. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. But thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Peace.